Gilman-Wells Award. This is an award that is named for two prominent chapter executive directors who made a real difference to NASW before passing away. They were Ethel Gilman of Florida, 1980 to 96, and Don Wells of the Indiana chapter from 1980 to 1995. This particular award is designed to recognize the contributions of at least one area of chapter operations that a chapter staff has made during the last year. All employees are eligible. The nomination criteria is board or committee relations expertise, membership recruitment and retention expertise, continuing education, newsletter design and content, social media and website management, fiscal operations, personnel administration, leadership development, political or legislative action, social action, or media relations. And this could be anyone in a chapter. This year we have an unusual recognition in that it is not a staff member in a chapter. This year we actually have an executive director who has this award. She is someone that has not been with us very long, but she has been involved in many, many things. The main issues that promoted her for this award are she definitely has participated in some very strong, very positive ways to move her chapter forward. She participated in something called the Service Enterprise Training. It's based on research showing organizations that strategically leverage volunteers in all aspects of their work are able to have the same community impact, but on half the budget of organizations that don't use volunteers. And this chapter became certified. Also, working in legislation, significant legislation that would eliminate social worker licensure, which many of us are facing. Additionally, expanding Medicaid, going against the governor of her state in order to force the governor and the folks in his office area by mobilizing membership, attending legislative hearings and getting the grassroots there, leading multiple protests, and then trying to move forward more constituent feedback, and she was successful. Outstanding membership relationships, maintaining all the standards for an association, membership levels that stayed consistent or went up, and making sure that members had access to all the new levels of information, the new things that we were doing, and making sure that the chapter conference and that the chapter's continuing education programs worked extremely well. There were several letters of recommendation for this particular person, and it was the decision of the awards committee to provide the Gilman-Wells Award to Denise Rathman of the Iowa chapter.
All right, over here.
And go with Denise.
Thank you.
Yeah, look at her. Now look at me. Great.
Wow, thank you very much. I had no idea that the laundry list was so long because, quite frankly, I hope you folks at National will take this news back to Ann Camper and Michael Evans in accounting, because I'm sure they will be stunned to learn this. Yeah, notice that accounting is not on that list. That's no surprise to anybody. I'd like to echo a little bit of what Joel said about how this really does belong to the members, because of course I was under the assumption and had been told it was really about the advocacy work that we had done last year.
Right.
And There is absolutely no way we would have been able to beat that bill without our members. No way.
Can you say a little bit about that? Because some people.
Yeah, I can say a
Is
little
that
bit
what's the
about
key
that. I mean, a
reason?
lot of you have been through this, but licensure was under threat to a governor's bill that came out. It was assigned to a subcommittee member on a Sunday night. We found out about it on the day after our legislative day, so I was like looking like the total stereotypical social worker, where I did wear real shoes. I almost wore the dance go clogs to the office that day, and I thought, what if I have to go up to the Capitol? And I got a call actually from a psychologist who worked for our public hospital in Polk County, which is the county that our state capital is in, and told me, Denise, there's a bill that you're going to be interested in. And thank God, because otherwise I might not have even noticed it, quite frankly. It was that quick. I go up to the Capitol that day. As some of you may know, our House Minority Leader is a former NASW National Board member, Mark Smith, LISW, so clinical social worker. He's out with the flu that day, and he's always my go-to person. His staff, of course, is very responsive, and they say they were going to, do what they can. And then I go out and talk to the one Democrat who's on that subcommittee. She's great. She brings in a Republican, and then just coincidentally, this was also about dietitians. The dietitians are there for their day, and the look on their faces, because they had no idea. They were just there to talk. They had no idea that this was happening. And literally, we have what we call a funnel week, and everything has to get passed through by the end of the funnel week in order to still be alive. And so that was a Wednesday, and so they had to have that meeting before funnel week of the next Friday. So fortunately, we had town hall meetings that weekend, and I'm sure that there were some of the the lobbyists who thought, why isn't she at the Capitol more? Well, because I knew the strength was not me, the strength was our members. And so I would do what I could that day, and then I'd go back to the office and put out the action alerts, post on social media. Our Facebook page grew by well over 100% during a week's period. And we just laid it out. Every single day we had a different action and a different target and a different person that we had to, and it worked. On that next Monday when we had the subcommittee hearing, and in Iowa I think it's probably a little bit different. Literally, if you're registered on the bill and you show up, you get a talk on the bill, which is a wonderful exercise in democracy. And I can't believe I didn't count the number, but I do believe that the vast majority of the people who spoke out against the bill were social workers. Our most effective advocate was probably a dietitian, and she talked because her daughter had been diagnosed with an eating disorder when she was a teenager, and it was a social worker who really pulled her through. So it was a great experience, the scariest 7 days of my professional life, because just 2 weeks before they completely gutted collective bargaining. So I knew that if these legislators wanted to completely gut licensure, they could do it. And they did. The guy literally, the chair of that subcommittee, ripped up the bill at that subcommittee meeting. So it was frightening, but it was well worth it. And I know it was because of that grassroots advocacy that we were able to do that. And as some of you know, but not all of you know, I got really my start on doing lobbying at the National Association of Social Workers, where I did my second-year field placement. So for you old-timers, Pat Gorman was my
national
field
office.
instructor. Sue was there at that time.
National office.
At the national office. Steve Karp was in membership at that time. Is
Chapter
anybody else
service
left
at that.
over?
He was in chapter service.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Thank you. So I'm thankful for that experience, and I never in a million years would have thought that I would enjoy doing state level advocacy more than federal advocacy. But it's just so much more accessible for us, and it's so much more fun, and it's just shows that we really can make a difference when we get together and organize. Now, can we get our members to actually do that, and other social workers, on other issues that aren't quite so threatening? That's the big challenge. So that's the question to answer during this session. So thank you, everybody. I really, really appreciate that. I'm really honored to have got this so short into my career here at NASW. But I joined this organization because a professor, Michelle Hawkins, she's still a member, Jim? She's a professor here in Florida. Michelle Hawkins. I think she's in administration now at Florida Atlantic. Is that what she is?
She's like a vice chancellor or something. She's
Yeah.
not in social work.
Yeah, she was my policy professor, for my first policy class at Catholic University in DC. And she said one day, I'm a member of NASW because they have a really awesome PAC. And that, I was like, oh, sign me up, because that's what my background was in campaigns. So thank you, everybody. It's a wonderful organization, and I look forward to being here for much longer. Thanks.